She wasn't the kind of woman who feared being alone. In fact, that's when she felt most alive. Out there among the mountains, where silence wrapped around her like a second skin, Emily Cross felt safe, until the day the forest swallowed her whole. In the fall of 2015, she went hiking through Misty Pines Reserve, a trail she knew like the back of her hand. But something happened that day, something no one could explain. For 8 long years, her disappearance haunted her family, her town, and every hiker who passed that same lonely trailhead. And then, one summer morning, a strange discovery was made in a lake nearby. Before we dive into this heartbreaking story, please take a second to support this channel. Hit that like button, subscribe, leave a comment, and turn on the notification bell. It helps us tell more true-life mysteries like this one, stories that remind us how fragile the line between adventure and tragedy can be. Now, let's begin. The morning she disappeared began beautifully, pale sunlight cutting through fog, pine needles glistening from last night's rain. Emily Cross, 29, was a trauma nurse from Portland. She'd been working long shifts for months, double hours, constant emergencies. Her co-workers said she'd been exhausted, maybe even burned out. So when she told her sister she planned to take a day to herself and go clear her head, nobody thought much of it. At 7 a.m., Emily called her sister Lena from her small apartment. "Don't worry, it's just a short hike," she said, laughing. "I'll be back before dinner." She packed light, a gray backpack, a red thermos, a granola bar, her phone, and her favorite necklace, a silver pendant from their late mother. By 8:43 a.m., traffic cameras caught her car entering the Misty Pines Reserve parking lot. She locked her car, slid her phone into her pack, and headed toward the trailhead. The air was cool, still carrying the smell of wet earth. Other hikers later said they saw her smile and nod as she passed. Then, nothing. Hours later, when the park ranger made his evening patrol, her car was still there. Keys in the ignition. Phone on the seat. That night, when she didn't answer her sister's calls, Lena drove there herself, headlights sweeping across the deserted lot, heart pounding. She found Emily's jacket tossed on the front seat, still damp. But no sign of Emily anywhere. Within 2 hours, deputies were called. And by midnight, a search team of 20 people was combing the trail with flashlights and dogs. They expected to find a twisted ankle or a faint call for help. Instead, the forest gave them nothing. The dogs lost her scent halfway up the ridge, near a fork that split the trail in two. One path led to the lake, the other to an abandoned ranger lookout that hadn't been used in years. It was as if she'd vanished in thin air. By dawn, the mountain mist rolled in, erasing every footprint. For the next 7 days, more than 150 volunteers joined the search, locals, hikers, police, even drone teams. They found a single hiking boot 3 miles off trail, but it wasn't hers. Theories started forming quickly. Maybe she'd been attacked by wildlife. Maybe she'd slipped into a ravine. Maybe someone had followed her into the woods. But there was no blood, no drag marks, no torn fabric. Nothing. The case of Emily Cross became one of Oregon's most haunting disappearances. Her sister Lena refused to move on. She hung missing posters across 3 counties. Every weekend, she returned to Misty Pines, hiking the same trail Emily did, calling her name into the fog. It's me. Please." No answer. Only the wind. Months passed. Then years. The Cross family slowly unraveled under the weight of not knowing. Their father died of a heart attack 2 years later. Their mother's dementia worsened. Every time Lena visited, she'd ask, "Did you find her yet?" Lena quit her job, started a Facebook group called Find Emily Cross, and devoted her life to piecing together clues. Thousands of strangers followed her journey. Some claimed they'd seen a woman matching Emily's description living off-grid in Northern California. Others thought she'd been abducted by someone she met on the trail. But every lead collapsed under scrutiny. In 2018, an independent investigator, Mark Ehlers, joined the case voluntarily. A retired forest ranger with 30 years of experience, he believed Emily had likely gotten lost and succumbed to exposure, but something about the location bothered him. "People don't just vanish that close to the base trail," he told Lena. "If she was injured, she would have been found. Unless she went somewhere no one thought to look." He studied maps, rainfall records, and animal migration routes. The one thing that stood out, a small, unmarked lake near the North Ridge, never searched because it was outside the mapped boundary. But when he proposed diving it, the authorities said the area was too dangerous, too deep, too unstable. The case went cold. Every year, on the anniversary of Emily's disappearance, Lena would hike to the same ridge, place a candle by the fork in the trail, and whisper, "I'm not giving up." Then, one bright July morning, 8 years later, a man named Marcus Hall, kayaking that same remote lake, noticed something odd shimmering beneath the water. 8 years after Emily vanished, July 2023, the Misty Pines Reserve looked different. The old ranger station had been torn down, a new visitor center built, and a warning sign now stood at the trail entrance. "Hike with caution. Sudden weather changes and low visibility ahead." The world had moved on, but Lena hadn't. That summer, she returned again, alone. She sat by her car in the same parking lot, staring at the trees that had swallowed her sister. She said later she felt something strange that morning, like the forest wanted to speak. But the discovery didn't come from her. It came from a hiker named Marcus Hall, a 42-year-old schoolteacher and weekend adventurer. Marcus had recently bought a used kayak and decided to explore the North Ridge Basin, a quiet, off-map area rumored to have a hidden lake. The path there was steep and half overgrown. He dragged his kayak through the brush until, finally, the trees opened up to reveal a wide, glassy lake, untouched, eerily still. He pushed off the shore and paddled slowly across. The water was so clear that fallen logs and moss-covered stones were visible beneath the surface. Halfway across, something metallic caught his eye, a faint glint in the sunlight, deep below. He thought it was trash or maybe an old canister, but curiosity got the better of him. He anchored his kayak and leaned over, peering down. At first, it looked like a tangle of roots. Then he realized it was a backpack strap, wedged between stones. Marcus marked the coordinates and called it in. By the next morning, a dive team arrived. The divers went down once, twice, nothing. On the third descent, they found it, a gray hiking pack, half buried in silt. The outer fabric had decayed, but the zipper still held. When they brought it up, it was heavier than expected. Inside, they found a red thermos, a folded trail map, a water-damaged phone sealed in a small waterproof pouch, a keychain with the initials EC. The items were immediately sent for forensic testing. A week later, the results confirmed it. The items belonged to Emily Cross. When technicians managed to charge the phone, the screen flickered to life. Despite years underwater, the memory card had survived. Inside was a single 2-minute video file labeled Trail Last. Authorities debated whether to release it publicly, but Lena was given permission to view it privately first. She sat in a dim room, clutching the phone, as the video began. The image was grainy, flashlight beam shaking, breathing heavy. Emily's face appeared, pale, wet, streaked with mud. "If anyone finds this, I'm still on the trail. I twisted my ankle earlier and I think I took a wrong turn. My GPS isn't working. I keep hearing something outside. I don't know if it's an animal or—" She paused, eyes darting toward the darkness beyond the tent. "If anyone finds this, tell Lena I love her. I'll try to make it down when it's light." A rustling sound followed, faint footsteps outside, twigs snapping. Emily's face turned sharply. The light dropped, and the video ended. The timestamp showed October 23, 2015, 10:19 p.m. That was the night she vanished. Police immediately sent a new search team to the area near the lake, tracing the last GPS ping from the phone. About half a mile from the shore, in a dense patch of ferns and pine, they found it, fragments of bone scattered near a small ravine, partially covered by moss. Forensic anthropologists confirmed the remains belonged to Emily Cross. Next to them lay a rusted camping knife and the remnants of a torn rain poncho. And strangest of all, a section of old barbed wire tangled among the roots. Experts later said the ravine used to be part of an abandoned livestock enclosure from the 1960s, now buried and forgotten. Emily must have fallen through the underbrush, injured herself again, and couldn't climb out. The lake had kept her final belongings hidden all these years. When news broke, it spread like wildfire. Headlines read, "Missing hiker found after 8 years. Final video reveals terrifying last moments." But the truth was quieter, more haunting. No monsters, no killers, just time, isolation, and the unforgiving silence of the forest. The following month, Lena returned to Misty Pines one last time. She stood at the edge of the lake as divers packed up their equipment, her reflection trembling on the water's surface. "It feels wrong to leave her here," she whispered. "She's not here anymore," one diver said gently. "She's home now." The investigation officially closed with the statement, "Cause of death, environmental exposure following accidental fall." But closure didn't feel like comfort. It felt like emptiness, the end of a question that had kept Lena alive for 8 years. She placed Emily's silver necklace, cleaned and polished, on a flat stone near the water. "You were right, Em," she said softly. "You always said the forest keeps secrets." In the weeks that followed, true crime forums exploded with theories. Some said someone had followed Emily. Others thought the rustling she heard in the video was simply a deer. But the most chilling theory came from a ranger who'd worked the area for decades. He said sometimes hikers in Misty Pines reported hearing voices, faint, familiar ones, calling from the trees. He smiled sadly when reporters asked if he believed in ghosts. "No," he said. "I believe the forest remembers." A year later, Lena published a book titled 8 Years of Silence, telling her sister's story. It wasn't about tragedy, she said. It was about hope, and the way love refuses to disappear even when people do. A small memorial now stands near the trailhead, marked with a brass plaque. In memory of Emily Cross, the trail she never left. Every fall, the sun cuts through the trees just right, and for a few minutes, the plaque glows like gold. Locals say it's Emily's light, finding her way home. Sometimes, the most haunting mysteries aren't about what we don't know, but about what the world keeps hidden, just long enough for us to remember what we've lost. If this story moved you, please take a second to like, comment, and subscribe. It helps us continue telling stories of real people, real emotions, and real mysteries that deserve to be remembered. And don't forget, turn on your notification bell so you never miss what's coming next.